playing the opener. And J-Mac and I were talking about this. In a 17-game season, soon to be 18 games, the Niners are not going to play just 17 games. They're a playoff team. They're going to play 18, 19, 20, 21. That's what they're going to do. But what I like about the Niners is, big picture, they have a high standard. And so Kyle Shanahan was talking recently on a San Francisco radio station about just letting Christian McCaffrey watch the preseason and watch week one.
If it was a playoff game, he made it very clear to me he believed he could go. But when you hear that type of stuff and it's not a playoff game and it's week one, and especially when you're dealing with the lower extremities like that, it was a tough decision. But hearing all the words and stuff, in the long run, it made it easy.
And I also think this with the 49ers. There are only 2 teams in the league. We have 32 teams. There are 2 that have a standard, which is win the Super Bowl or it's a failure. Dallas would throw a parade if they could get to the NFC Championship. Even Buffalo, if they got to a Super Bowl, that would mean they beat Mahomes. They'd be satisfied. They want to win the Super Bowl, but if they lost a wild shootout with the Niners, they beat Mahomes and Burrow and Lamar Jackson, it'd be a good year in Buffalo with a lot of promise going forward. Baltimore. What about Baltimore, Colin? You're telling me if Lamar Jackson wins 2 or 3 playoff games and gets to the Super Bowl, basically they know the extension they gave him, it's worth it. He can win playoff games. And that also means he probably beats Mahomes and Josh Allen. They would be okay getting to a Super Bowl. Green Bay, I think they're ahead of schedule. It's like the youngest team in the league. The youngest team in the league. Detroit, they've never been to a Super Bowl. You don't think Detroit, if Detroit goes to a Super Bowl, loses in overtime, what do you think, their year is lost? Michigan just won a natty in college football. The Lions a year and a half later get to a Super Bowl. I think they'd be okay. Even successful Philadelphia. What about Philadelphia? Okay, let's think about it. Nick Sirianni's fighting for his job. They paid Jalen Hurts, who's been great for 1 year, under Shane Steichen, who's now the Colts coach. If Philadelphia gets to a Super Bowl and loses a shootout to Josh Allen or Burrow, they know Nick Sirianni's, he probably gets an extension. Because right now, they don't know if Sirianni's the guy. They know Shane Steichen and Sirianni were a great tandem. They don't know if he's a guy. The story's coming out, he didn't get along with Jalen Hurts. So Texans get to a Super Bowl, just get there. Come on, they're like 3 years ahead of schedule. So to me, Christian McCaffrey, the whole ball game, because it's the Niners, is will he be ready to play February 9th in New Orleans? Only 2 teams have that standard. San Francisco's been to Super Bowls. They've led Mahomes in the fourth quarter. That's not the end game. Shanahan's getting a little bit of a rep that he has leads in big games and loses them. Now, I think it's unfair. I think he's brilliant. But that's the rep. If something happens over and over and over, that's the rep. So that's why you don't play Christian McCaffrey. Chiefs, Niners, totally different standard than the league. Completely different. I know, in Philadelphia, you don't know if Sirianni's the guy. He gets to a Super Bowl this year in a better NFC, he's the guy. Give him an extension. The Week 2 NFL schedule, take a look at it. Tonight, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm going to take Miami over Buffalo. It is a very strange week, too. It's got almost a college football feel to it. A lot of 6-point favorites. A lot of lopsided Gardner Minshew against Lamar Jackson. Justin Herbert against Bryce Young. Trevor Lawrence against currently awful Deshaun Watson. Geno Smith, couple of Pro Bowls, 9 wins against Jacoby Brissett. Aaron Rodgers, Will Levis.
Hey, I just noticed a schedule quirk. So the Raiders played Jim Harbaugh last week in L.A. Now they go across the country to face John Harbaugh. So I wonder if the Harbaugh brothers are going to chat on the phone about any tendencies, strengths, weaknesses.
Of course they are. Remember Jim Harbaugh came on our show, and when they got J.K. Dobbins, he called his brother and said, well, we need a running back. And his brother's like, the dude can play.
Yeah, Gus Edwards, too, and OC.
The Harbaugh family, they lean on each other. That's a big advantage. That's a good catch by you. Nice catch by you. If you look at that,
that's not really fair to the Raiders. If you're looking around the league, it's like how are you going to schedule the brothers back to back?
So week 1, you get upset. Cincinnati lost to New England. Look at that board right now. Look at the entire board. There's going to be an upset this week. Where's the upset?
Ooh.
So there's going to be one.
I'll go Malik Willis.
Malik Willis beats the guy.
I basically just trashed the guy Monday. He can't play. He's not a pro. The more you look at the game, I think LaFleur's going to scheme up some stuff. I bet you Malik Willis doesn't throw one pass beyond 10 yards. It's just a run game. Everything played in Indy. I saw their top cornerback is gone. He's out, Brents. So their secondary wasn't good last week. C.J. Stroud, 9 for 9 on third down. Tell me Malik Willis can't game manage his way to a victory?
Let me ask you this. If Bo Nix beats the Steelers, is that an upset?
I like that one as well. But that's below 3 now. Steelers are sitting on 3. Now it's below 3. I think Denver at home. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Bo Nix beating the Steelers. That doesn't really qualify as one of the great upsets of our time.
Yeah. Not of our time.
Don't forget, 1 hour from now.
The guy who's holding out since the trade, hasn't practiced or played for the Jets. He wants big money. The Jets could obviously use him on the defensive line as they could not get to Brock Purdy in the opener. Robert Saleh says there's no indication that Hassan Reddick will show up anytime soon.
Is there any sign of Reddick today?
Not that I'm aware of. From a pass game standpoint, like I said, I thought San Francisco did a really nice job getting rid of the ball. We sacked them a couple times, but look, we're always going to want our own in the building. It is what it is, but whenever the deal gets done, it gets done.
Not great. Luckily, they won't need him against Will Levis, your guy. But, big picture, it'd be nice to have a pass rusher in there. They missed Bryce Huff, obviously.
Of course. He's a lead
more
playmaker.
More of a situational guy. Reddick, I mean, I don't know, Colin. If you're the GM, it's not your money. It's the owner's money. Just pay the guy. Because guess what? If the Jets go 6-10 or 6-11,
do you think
they're out of jobs anyway?
Do you think the Niners, Eagles, and Rams would pay Hassan Reddick? Yes.
They're in different circumstances.
That's
Those teams are in the Super Bowl every other year.
I mean, look at the Niners roster. They're paying everybody except Brock Purdy. People say, well, they're not paying Brock Purdy. They're paying everybody else.
The Jets are not in that class. I'm sorry. They're more in the Cleveland Browns class.
That's right.
Where they're desperate and they need to do whatever. Hey, let's pay just John Watson, hope for the best. Let's pay Hassan Reddick. Because you know what? The GM and Saleh are going to be gone, fired. See ya if the season doesn't work out. So
it didn't work out. If they ended up being 8-9.
With or without Reddick?
Either way, if he comes back, he's not in great shape. Isn't good until late.
How is Saleh keeping his job if they go 8-9?
Well, I don't think he is. I think I'd keep the GM.
Oh, really? Okay.
All right. I'm asking the question. I don't know J-Mac with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
Speaking of that, there was an Aaron Rodgers bite yesterday. He is good content. He's very good content. So he was, they're 0-1, but, they looked ugly at 0-1. They had one legitimate drive, couldn't stop anybody. 0-1s are not the same. The Rams are 0-1. They look mostly great. I thought Indianapolis is 0-1. No. Houston's good. That's different than Tennessee being 0-1 and now facing the Jets. That's ugly. So Aaron Rodgers met with the media and talked about everybody freaking out after losing ugly to San Francisco.
I mean, I think we always got to stay relaxed. It's a long season. I think at times people think the season is like you're out in the prairie or the desert and you're wandering around trying to find water. But it's more like a nice, slow bolero, where we're just swaying with the music and reacting to whatever comes to us and through us, and just trying to not get too high with the highs or too low with the lows.
That sounds great. Relax. Everybody stay calm. I'm the leader here. But if they lose to Tennessee and it's 0-2, this puppy's unraveling. Okay, and Aaron can say whatever he wants. He can be like Leslie Nielsen or the Animal House scene. Everybody stay calm. Nothing to see here. Yeah, it's New York. It's the Jets. And staying calm is much easier when things are aesthetically pretty. Like, had they lost in overtime to the Niners in a shootout, 24, 24-21, losing a field goal overtime. You'd be like, okay, it's aesthetically looked apart. This didn't. And then it's New York. And I think this is what makes this lift so difficult for Aaron. Losing cultures never stay calm. Rams do. Rams have massive injuries. Massive injuries. They could go 0-2 and lose to Arizona. It won't be man overboard. Philadelphia goes in a losing streak. It's not man overboard. I mean, the Cleveland Browns and the Jets could walk through a puddle and think they're drowning. That's the reality of poorly run franchises. I mean, remember this week when Robert Saleh said this about the 0-1 start?
Unfortunately, it does, because I think